This health department article was published in an 1862 issue of Arthur's Home magazine. This particular article was written by Hattie Hopeful and is called Care of the Feet. Now, a lot of what she says in the article is just plain common sense. And then other things that she says in the article sound really strange because we are so far removed in time from this article. Then at the end of this treatise on the care of feet, there are three other small pieces that I'm going to share with you. One called Antidote Against Poison, Hysterics, and To Prevent Contagion. So, with that said, let's talk about feet. She wrote, "The feet not only serve as a firm foundation for walking, but they exert an influence over health of the whole system, and through it the mind. The pain and inconvenience of corns, bunions, etc. on the feet are well known to many, but few know how to prevent their presence or how to remove them when they do appear. Washing the feet often in warm soap and water immediately before retiring at night, and scraping and wiping off the dead and hardened skin that accumulates on the feet if not daily washed, will prevent the appearance of corns and prove highly conducive to health and comfort. The intelligent nurse, the humane physician, look well to the condition of the feet of the invalid. In all cases of indisposition whatever, due regard ought to be paid to the condition of the feet. If dry and husky, let them be bathed in warm soap and water, the scruff well scraped off, then vigorously rubbed with a crash towel, wiped dry, and wrapped in warm flannels with something warm placed to the feet to assist in equalizing the circulation of the blood through the whole system. This will greatly relieve and aid the restoration of the patient." She continued, "When the patient cannot sit up a sufficient length of time, or from any other cause the feet cannot be bathed, let them be wrapped in cloths wrung out of warm, clean suds for a few minutes or until the dryness of them will wipe off with a dry, harsh cloth. This ought to be done often in all kinds of fevers and etc. Now, to prevent corns, bunions, etc., to keep the feet warm and in a healthful state, they must often be well washed in warm soap and water, the dry scruff on the soles well scraped off so that they can exude through their pores the impurities they were designed to cast off." See, now I find that particularly interesting because my son actually had a machine that you put water and I believe Epsom salts in and you soak your feet in it for a certain amount of time. And the water turns a really disgusting brown because through the pores of the feet, many impurities were being taken out of the body. And I'm surprised in a sense that this isn't more talked about from physicians nowadays. Back to the article though, when from neglect, corpse and other hardened substances have formed on the feet, actually corns, it looks like corpse, they may be eased by bathing the parts affected in warm, weak lye, which will often loosen the corn from its attachment so that it may be peeled out. But sometimes it will only loosen a little till it is thus bathed several times. Patience and preservation, or sorry folks, patience and perseverance may often effect a cure of corns in this way without any of the injurious effects that arise from using corn salves or poisonous nostrums. To preserve the health of the system, the feet ought always to be kept warm and dry. Boots and shoes ought not to be tight, as they prevent a healthful circulation injurious to the whole system, and crowd the bones out of place, causing much pain and discomfort. The foot is so formed as to admit of a great variety of motions. These motions are hindered when the foot is encased in tight shoes or boots." I want to comment here quickly on what she wrote about the feet being kept warm and dry as conducive to the entire system of our bodies working properly and being in good condition. A number of years ago, probably about 15 now, I was lost in the woods in February of that year. It was bitterly, bitterly cold. I wasn't dressed to be out in the inclement weather that was there. and I was freezing from head to foot. My toes and my feet burned and they hurt, stabbing pain. And I came upon a farm field where cows were still out in this really awful cold. And I noticed steam rising from the piles of cow manure. So I assumed that they were warm. The only thing I could do to warm my feet and to help make it so I didn't die there was to take my shoes and socks off and put my feet in the warm cow manure. And as that warmed my feet, it warmed my whole body. And soon I wasn't feeling as despondent like I was about to die. And after a while I was able to redress my feet and walk on a bit further where I found help not too far off. Continuing with Ms. Hopeful's article, though, the many bones, the variety of muscles and tendons of which the foot is composed, proves that it ought to have the freest motion and room for play. It is a law of the living economy that muscular health and development can only be secured by allowing the muscles full room for action. Tight shoes often crowd one toe over the other in such a manner as to cause great pain and inconvenience in walking. Sometimes they produce painful ulcers causing the severest suffering. When this painful disease occurs, soaking in warm and cold water and water dressings will give relief, and if the person's blood is not too impure, effect a cure if faithfully applied. The covering of the feet should be loose and such as will keep the feet dry and warm. As a covering of the feet, India rubber is detrimental to health, except where a person has to wade in mud or in cold water for a length of time. Its use confines the perspiration of the feet, make them damp, cold, and tender. Varicose veins weaken lame ankles are often caused by wearing shoes with India rubber springs at the sides. Cleanliness, dryness, warmth, and free action to all the muscles, tendons, and bones of the feet are necessary to secure the health and comfort of the whole system, else fatal diseases may arise in other parts of the system which might have been prevented by due care and the attention given to this short article. Now let's look at what Ms. Hopeful had to say about antidotes against poison. She said, briefly, hundreds of lives might have been saved by knowledge of the simple recipe: a large teaspoon full of mustard mixed in a tumbler of warm water and swallowed as soon as possible. It acts as an instant emetic, sufficiently powerful to remove all that is lodged in the stomach. Yeah, that seems pretty harsh. Hysterics. Ladies, don't take offense to this one, please, but it was a lady who wrote it. Dr. March says the best cure for hysterics is to discourage a servant girl. In his opinion, there is nothing like brisk exercise and useful occupation to keep the nervous system from becoming unstrung. Some women think that they want a position, and he says when they only need a good scrub brush. The wisdom of long ago. And lastly, to prevent contagion. There is very little efficacy in the employment of camphor and other similar substances in preventing the contagion of fevers. The best prophylactics are general cleanliness, plenty of fresh air and water, moderately good living, and cheerfulness of mind. Chloride of lime is undoubtedly beneficial in neutralizing bad smells and is especially antagonistic of the vapors of sulfurated hydrogen, but its power of destroying infection is more than doubtful. So a little wisdom from days now long past about taking care of your feet and other things. I hope you enjoyed it. I have more that'll be bringing your way soon. And have a great evening, and God bless. Good night.